Hello YouTube, it's me, greenminer13, doing part 2 to the polycount set that I told you about in my weapon series. And there it is, back again for Lepter's server, and this is part 2, as in all my weapon guide of the original. Now, as I told you, I'm doing all the polycount weapons. The part 1, which will be in the description below. Here's my spray, as always. It's the polycount set. You know, I told you I would do the whole set. Well, part 1 explained what all of the polycounts had to do. This part's more or less what each weapon individually does, because I know that I didn't go through that in part 1 only because I had to fit the effects of everything and some had suggestions. Now, with the weapons, I will give little helpful hints and tips and tricks, starting with, of course, the spy. And that starts off with this. As you know, you can use, alright, well, the Letranger gives you 15% cloak on hit and a 20% damage penalty. Now, what's interesting about this loadout is that the weapon does not work with the cloak and dagger, since the cloak and dagger in no way can be buffed to have, like, it's empty, now it's full. You know, you can't do that. So, you know, when you're using the Letranger, be careful that the Letranger is not being accessed or anything like that. It's not a terrible weapon, it's just if you're using cloak and dagger, it may not be the best choice. This is your eternal reward if you didn't. What it does is, if you backstab someone, it's also silent. It's a silent killer. And 2, if you backstab someone, you become them in a sense that you're now disguised as the person you just backstabbed. So there's no fake disguises. Well, you are fake disguise, but you won't be an engineer of someone who's obviously a soldier over there. So it's kind of cool. And sentries get really affected by this, but you can't wear a disguise automatically, so you have to get the first backstab to be effective and everything. And then, of course, that's all that is. I suggest the Dead Ringer, but if you want to, you can use either cloak. I prefer the normal or the Dead Ringer, since cloak and dagger isn't very useful. Now, the sniper, going back to these, you have the Sydney Sleeper, which gives a plus charge rate. Girardi applied. On hit, it applies Girardi, but you get no random crits and no headshots. Now, the fun fact about the Girardi effect of this is that in the original update of this thing being released, you actually were not able to get that plus 25 charge. But then again, though, it had the random crits, so it took one away and added. This is plus 25 max health on wearer. I don't recommend it. I prefer the Diamondback or, you know, another secondary. And then the Strange Bushwhacker, which gives you fire damage increase, but it also would crit when it normally would mini crit, which works for Girardi, which guarantees mini crits to occur, which is good. You guarantee mini crit, you hit him, boom, there you go. The medic has a crossbow. I kind of mentioned this in the episode, but I'll do it again. The crossbow shoots one shot at a time, and depending on the distance, depends whether it heals or hurts someone. Now, if you shoot a disguised spy, they will heal, so you got to be careful with that. And I'm sorry, I'm getting sidetracked here. But and the amputator, as you know, you heal everyone, and you could use any medigun. So there, still no NG. The heavy, alright, yeah. The brass beasts, you do more damage, but you're slower while you have it. It's not even, and you go even slower while it's spinning. And so pretty much, you're pretty much going to stay in one place. It would take a really long time. So what I would suggest, if you're not going, it's really good if you're defending something very important, like capture the flag or a point, because you get there, like equip your gloves, get there, and then equip this, you're pretty good to go. Buffalo steak sandwich, you eat it, and it'll apply you with mini crits, and you get to run fast, but you can only use your warrior spirit. Now, that's really good, but the fun fact is, actually, if you were able to do your taunt ability, where you could switch weapons and taunt at the same time, where you would start to eat it, you would activate it and be able to have the brass beast, which is a cool glitch that they fixed a long time ago. But like I said, I'll give you little things that I do know about certain weapons. And then you have the Warrior Spirit, which has a 30 buff in damage, but you lose 20 health. I don't know whether the health was a good idea. But then again, you get a huge buff in attack. I would have minded it just 10. And then no health loss, because the heavy has a lot of health, so it's irrelevant. Oh yeah, the stake. You can still throw it at people, and they can grab it, but you can't yourself heal from using it. So it's kind of interesting on, you know, what little things there are. The Demo Man, as I said, the Ullapool Caber explodes when you hit someone with it. No random crits. It used to get random crits, but, you know, it's exactly what it would seem like. It's a gigantic, it's a grenade in your hand, so, you know, you really can't use that. Then you've got the Lock and Load that does a bonus of damage and the projectile speed. I don't remember the damage bonus was there or not, but it had the... It's like the soldier's direct hit in the sense that of how it'll work on people. On how it damages people. And it does more damage. It's literally this Demo Man's version of the Lock and Load. Direct hit for the soldier. So, and you know, all that senses. I suggest getting the Charge and Targe because it gives you more defense, and you can also use the Ullapool Caber to get that crit you might need, which does a lot and does about 100 damage to you. So be careful. The Pyro, the Degreaser, a 65 weapon switch. That's new. It used to not be. The afterburn damage was there, but it does -10 damage and then -25 afterburn damage penalty. The fun fact about the Degreaser is that you didn't used to have the -10 damage penalty, but they updated it when everyone was using it. Because, oh yeah, the afterburn's weaker, but your fire would still be strong. And then the Power Jack, you receive 20 more damage from melee sources, which means if you have this out and you get punched, you receive more damage. Now, if you kill someone with it, you get a 75 buff, which can overheal you, which is kind of cool to use this on, you know, do some damage. I would not recommend hitting a heavy with it, though, especially with the debuff the whole thing gives you. Soldier, black box, everyone knows it. You receive 3 rockets instead of 4, but you receive 15 health per hit. Now, this means if you hit 3 people, you receive 15 health per hit, so it's kind of cool you receive multiple forms of that. Battalion Backup, it used to only be a certain way, but Battalion Backup, when you charge it by getting hurt, so it's cool. That's the black box. This is a cool combo they did, and what it does is if you absorb 200 health of damage, or like 250, something like that, so you gotta like get more than your health in damage. And what it does is it applies a mini buff of defense for you. It protects you from crits and blocks 35% of damage, and to everyone around you too, which is kind of cool. And then the Scout, you receive the Shortstop, which was like a pistol to him. It's just a pistol. It used to be faster in the reload, and a very fast shooting gun. And it used to have an effect to slow people down when they got shot by it, but they took that out, and then they made it a lot slower, and I would have liked it just the fastness would have been nice. Or, you know, if they make it slower, give it that slow effect. Mad Milk is like Girardi, but anyone covered in milk, if you hurt them, you heal instead of anything. And then the Holy Mackerel is just a bat that shows whenever you hit someone. And I hate Scout, and I hate this loadout, but I have it. And let me give you, and to finish this off, I will give you my advice for each of these, and I could call it the end of the polycount series. If, like I said in the first video's description, if you wish to see any of the polycount sets used, or a polycount set in more depth intel of description, leave a comment in the description below. Always feel free to subscribe and leave any sort of ability you want to. And if you want to ask why am I not fighting, this is not for the demonstration of how they're used. I can do that, but this is more of an informational video, not a this is a montage. I hate montages because As I said, if you're going to use this, the really only thing you can add effect is the Dead Ringer and Inviswatch than the Cloak and Dagger. Now, I would prefer the Inviswatch or Dead Ringer only because if you die with the Dead Ringer, you're not sounded, but you can use the Inviswatch and Cloak and be unheard and just spawn behind people, and it's really cool how you can use that. Gotta wait for this. Oh, there we go. Sniper, if you're gonna use this setup, oh, okay, I'll just talk about the strategy for the spy. If you're gonna use the Saharan spy set, that's what the his polycount set, I would suggest you incorporate the ability to be defensive and be supportive, and those sort of cases, only because of its inability to cloak or disguise. So sentry guns. So going after soldiers and heavies may not look like a good idea at first, but sometimes getting that first disguise is all you need to wreak havoc on an entire team of people. I know I do it all the time with soldiers. I go after any target first, and you know, fun fact is, if you know you're disguised as a heavy, you go really, really slowly, but you can always disguise or go into cloak mode, and that way you won't be as slow. Yes, you might be using cloak, but it still is very helpful. Sniper, you're pretty much going to be assisting every member of your team, because you'll be covering every character in Girardi, so everyone will be either being hit with crits or being hit by you in huge amounts of damage. You've got the medic here, and you really just, it's the same gameplay, but you know, some medics really like to, you can't ever play battle medic as this, and it really helps if you know your person well enough, because if you start getting attacked by people, you really can't defend yourself well. You're really good with people, but you're really bad alone, so they really made the medic rely on people. The heavy, as I said before, you're really, really slow, so be careful about that. You need to be in an area where, you know, you have like an engineer dispenser. Demo man, if you're playing as him, you will play aggressively, but be warned, don't play on a server that has a long respawn time, because you probably will die a lot. You know, because I think that, but it's not always the same way. You can be very effective with this if you know how to aim with the lock and load. So if you're going to play as him, be careful. The pyro is interesting because you can move faster, which means you can get around people more and be more maneuverable. The problem is the bullets make you pretty weak against heavy, so be careful when fighting them. Try to ambush more and stay in the corners. Soldier, you get a defensive buff against sentries, and you give everyone a buff in defense, so that's always a pleasure. And you can always use these together in some form or another, and don't ever forget that if you have a medic on you, apply some. I would suggest the medic give you crits, not an Uber, because if you're a battalion backup, being probably able to help you both out. And scout's just the same. And you know, people are be like, you have no respect for the scout. Well, I hate the scout. I'm biased. I don't like him. He's too fast. Well, then again, though, I like the spy, the medic, and the pyro. So scout's just never been appealing. I like the buff of health, but I don't like him. I don't like him. He just seems like a punk to me. Anyway, hope this part of the video guide helped. If you have any, and part 2's over, and this has been greenminer13. Again, if you want to check video part 1, it'll have all the description of everything. And yeah, I mean, leave a comment in the section below. And my next video will be episode 3 technically, but you know, a different connection to where you will watch my videos of where, you know, I will now be doing updated weapons, and the closer the updates, the better. I'll probably be doing those first, are the ones that are just made. And with weapon guides, I will be in better description, but the polycount set have certain rules, which is why they're interesting. And remember, always leave us a comment, subscribe, and see you later. This is greenminer13, and don't forget to always join Lepter's server, and you can go to part 1 to see the description because of all that stuff. Thank you. This is greenminer13. Thank you and goodbye.